Welcome to Gaming Fin, your channel for everything related about the gaming industry and the financial markets. And today I'm going to talk about Nintendo stock. So here you can see already my channel. So I have a lot of videos. I talk a lot about CD Projekt, of course. I talk a lot about Embracer. I talk sometimes about cryptos like Tezos, like Solana, like Take-Two or Ubisoft, also gaming companies I talk about. And I also plan to talk about other stocks that I own. So just to give you also an impression, an overview about other stocks that are interesting. So I'm invested in most of those stocks, and I'm also giving you the disclaimer when I'm invested so that you know that I'm invested. So that's very important. But my friends, I'm not a financial advisor. So I'm just a retail YouTuber. So make up your own research. And this is the most important part. So never invest money in anything that those YouTubers tell you. So we learned all the lesson, my friend. So Nintendo stock. So that's the overview of the Nintendo stocks. I don't know if I have to tell you a lot about Nintendo. So Nintendo, they have at the moment a Nintendo Switch, which is a handheld console. And you can also use it as a classical desktop console, let's put it like this. And Nintendo is, of course, it's an old company. You can see it here on the Max stock chart. So, for example, from $8 back in the days in '97 up to today, we are $64, and we were also coming down from the height of $77. And I think this was an all-time high for Nintendo. This is actually pretty impressive. So just imagine you were invested in Nintendo in 2007. Then you needed, oh my God, you needed quite 13, 14, 15 years you needed to get back to the top, and then you would have dropped immediately. But obviously on the way back to the top, when you were falling in Nintendo, you were buying more stocks, so you were averaging down. So averaging down is always kind of important in the stock market. All right, so is the Nintendo stock a buy now? So yeah, let's look at some news. So let's look at some news, like for example here on Yahoo Finance. So I found here this news by Reuters, so this is maybe interesting. So today the Nintendo stock, so we can also see 5%. Nintendo dropped 5%. So, but today was in general, the market situation was that the growth stocks or that the tech stocks were dropping. So is Nintendo actually even still a tech stock? That's also a question you have to ask yourself, because if you look now here for the forward dividend and yield 3.3%, that's pretty good. And they have also a positive earnings per share of 4, and they have a PE ratio of 15.95, which is also not too high. This means, of course, it's not low, but it's also not too high. Let's put it like this. And if you also look here at the financials, so they're beating mostly the estimates here, which is impressive. And also here the earnings here again on this financials, you see good revenues, good earnings. So this looks overall not too bad. So, but here we see also downgrade by Jefferies, a downgrade by Goldman, upgrade from neutral to outperform by Wedbush. This was in 2019. Okay, those are a bit old, so don't listen to those. They are way too old. Oh my God. So why do they still have this there? So therefore always look a little bit more in detail for the number. So Nintendo stock was falling, and the reason was Breath of the Wild. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was postponed to spring 2023. So I wouldn't say that's the real reason. Honestly, guys, I don't think that's the reason. We know Breath of the Wild 2, or the sequel of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, will take some time, and we know it might not even come in this generation. So I'm not one to speculate, but if you look back to the Breath of the Wild, which was actually planned for the Wii U, and then it came out for the Wii U, but it then also came at the same time to the Switch. So it came to both consoles. So that's maybe keep this in mind when you're looking forward just for a new Zelda. And to be honest, I never really liked Breath of the Wild. I have it myself. I have a Switch at home myself. But and now comes the very important part I also wanted to talk about, since I have the Steam Deck. I don't know. Do you know what a Steam Deck is, guys? So otherwise, yes, I'm a Steam gamer. You see this? I love playing Steam games. or I'm a PC gamer. So that's the Steam Deck. So the Steam Deck is the new handheld by Valve. Valve, that is the producer of Steam, and this Steam Deck costs 679 euros, and you can play all your Steam games on the Steam Deck. So all your big library on the Steam Deck. I have like 5,000 games, and I can certainly play like 3,000 for sure on the Steam Deck. So if I have now my Switch. If I have my Switch, I have the problem. So I'm going to click now here on the link. Wait a moment. So if I have, for example, now the Switch, I have simply the problem that the games are extremely expensive. So the games are cost like 60, 70, 60 euros. So obviously Nintendo is also, let's go to Nintendo.com. So Nintendo is earning a lot with their own games. So I mean, we know the story. I mean, you know Nintendo. So I think I don't have to explain you. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, for example, is coming. And then also Nintendo Switch Sports or Kirby and the Forgotten Lands is now available. So they earn mostly the monies with this. But with having done the Steam Deck, I could imagine that a lot of gamers that would play actually on the Nintendo Switch, because of the Nintendo games, obviously, would also would switch, no pun intended, would go and get their Steam Deck. At the moment, it's difficult to get one. At the moment, you go in the shop and you buy a Switch, but you cannot just simply go in a shop and buy a Steam Deck. So all of those gamers probably would go and get the Steam Deck. So and the Nintendo Switch would become a second console. So simply to play some of those exclusives by Nintendo, those Super Mario games, those Kirby games, those Zelda games. So for this might be Nintendo might be okay, but we're not talking now about the games. We're talking about the stock, of course, in this video. So games made in-house formed, for example, 84% of Nintendo software sales in the third quarter ended December. So this is very important. So I'm also only buying the exclusive. I'm not buying any other Nintendo, any other third-party games for my Switch console. So it's really Nintendo games plus Switch. This is the real deal. So Switch console has an install base of more than 100 million units with more than 750 million software units sold. So you see in average every owner of a Switch has like 7.5 games. So that's okay, I would say. That's okay. So I mean, I have it. I think I have even less games. So yeah, here they talk about other games are coming. So Splatoon 3. I don't think that's really important. And then yeah, Kirby is now out. So yeah, the gamers wanted to have Breath of the Wild. But, and that's the big but, I don't think, guys, I really don't think that this is coming soon, that this is the reason. I really don't think that this is the reason the stock is dropping. I mean, I don't think this. I really don't think this. I mean, this is really short term. This is a short term drop. If we change, for example, to an hourly value here, we see, I mean, the stock was coming from 57,000 yen, was going up to 68,000 yen or 67,000 yen, and now drop from there. So this is simply a normal pullback. So this has nothing really to do with Breath of the Wild. And as I said before, I don't think that people are buying Nintendo stock because of Breath of the Wild. So this is definitely not the case. But what is true, some people are buying the Nintendo consoles because of those games. So now I would say Nintendo will feel the release of the Steam Deck, and therefore when you ask me now, is Nintendo now a buy? Is it now a purchase? So when I look at this stock here, at the overall long-term chart, so normally in other forms of growth stocks, so of video games companies, for example, I would say, yeah, that's interesting to invest now. If I look, for example, now in Take-Two, let's look at the Take-Two chart. So that's how the Take-Two charts look. I would say, that's interesting actually to invest. So that's interesting now, because imagine GTA 6 comes out, then I would suggest that, or I would imagine myself that Take-Two would go up like crazy. Ubisoft has at the moment quite some problems. You see it here with this overall stock chart. So we're coming back to some values of 2017. So that is actually really sad. But I'm invested in Take-Two. I'm invested in Ubisoft. I'm not invested in Nintendo. But I could imagine actually Ubisoft also coming back, getting a little rebound soon. But let's talk about the Nintendo stock. Let's go back. So at the moment, I would say so. I mean, it either goes up or it goes down. Is Nintendo on a growth path with having already sold over 100 million units of the Switch? Maybe they're not really at a growth path. Now having a much bigger concurrence also with mobile games, etc., and they are not really in the mobile gaming world with their titles. So they have some Super Mario, some Pokemon games for mobile, of course, but they're not really there. So I would be extremely reluctant. So I don't really think that we see that much of a next big run of Nintendo. So I think at this valuation here, so not the, or let's say looking simply at the chart, not at the valuation. The valuation is actually not too bad, but yeah, I know you should not only look at the chart, you should also look at the valuation. But looking at the chart and just seeing what's going on with Nintendo and having the concurrence in mind, so I wouldn't invest there. But my friends, you make up your own mind. Maybe you think Nintendo is also coming with the next big thing. Maybe Nintendo is having another huge console. But imagine, and keep this in mind, not every Nintendo console is a big success. So the Switch was a success, the Wii was a success, the GameCube was not really a success, the Wii U was definitely not a success. The Nintendo 64, I mean, we all love the Nintendo 64, but it was not comparable success to the Super Nintendo. The Nintendo Entertainment System was a success. Super Nintendo was a success. The Game Boy was a success. But. So, Nintendo 3DS, was it a success? Yeah, maybe it was a success. So you see, Nintendo is a bit difficult. So, but as long as they create games, as long as they produce consoles, make their own consoles, make their own exclusive, I'm not so negative, of course. So as long as this is Nintendo is moving forward with this, I would say it's an interesting stock to invest again when we, for example, would see maybe the $30-40 here on this price here. So I'm not saying this is happening. Maybe it will never happen. Maybe we will never see this. But on the other hand, yeah, I mean, stocks are cyclical as well, even growth stocks like this. So, and well, maybe one last thought, when we saw now the big sell-off in a lot of growth stocks, especially American growth stock, I'm surprised, and then I'm also positively surprised that the Nintendo stock was holding up so well. So lucky those people that were actually invested on the other hand, in Nintendo, so they could actually keep some of their gains. Okay, I would say if you like this video, comment, like, and subscribe, and share it if you enjoyed it as well. So my videos are unedited. My videos are straight out to you. If I would just sit in front of you, talk to you. So that's what I like to do. And I think that's the most important part, to get your message out. So if you're interested in this kind of games, then also leave me a commentary. This would definitely also make me happy. And with that, I'm leaving it here, and I wish you a wonderful day. See you next time. Bye bye.